At this point, I can only assume that certain Trump administration officials have a humiliation fetish. Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent went on Jake Tapper's show this morning and had not one but two moments that were nothing short of a disaster for this White House. Here's the first.
You joined President Trump on his Mideast trip, and he's been defending from criticism from both liberals and conservatives to accept this $400 million luxury jet as a gift from Qatar to use for the duration of his presidency. And then, I believe, for his presidential library, Trump says he's giving it to him as a nice gesture. You're a hard-nosed businessman. Even if Qatar isn't asking for anything in return now for the jet, I mean, that's a bill that could come due. Nobody in the Middle East gives things just to, or anywhere in the world, just gives a $400 million jet just to be nice.
Well, I don't know, Jake. The French gave us the Statue of Liberty. The British gave us the Resolute desk. I'm not sure they asked for anything in advance. And the more important airplane deal was there's $100 billion of orders from Qatari Airlines to Boeing. Kelly Ortberg, the CEO of Boeing, was with us in the Middle East. This is the biggest order in the company's history. So, I think that plane deal is much more important than this other one.
Well, I will just say about the Statue of Liberty, I mean, that was authorized by Congress, and it belongs to the American people. It doesn't belong to whoever was president at the time.
Well, I think that this plane would be a gift to the American government.
Ah, yes. The French gave us the Statue of Liberty, and the British gave us the Resolute desk, and so somehow that makes it okay that Trump personally gets to accept a $400 million jet. Like, first off, a desk is not a plane. But aside from that, the Statue of Liberty and the Resolute desk don't belong to any individual. They belong to the United States of America. The plane, however, will. And of course, Trump will pretend that it's a gift, not to him personally, but to the Department of Defense. Right. If I bet a conservative influencer or a Republican mouthpiece or administration official themselves their annual salary that Donald Trump takes the plane for himself after he leaves office, how many of them would go against that? How many of them would take that bet? How many of them would put their own money on the line that Donald Trump does not end up with his own 747 after all is said and done? I'd venture to guess not that many, because they know what this is. They know that that plane is going to him, as does Qatar, which is why they gave it to him in the first place, because he's a kleptocrat, and they know it, and they are feeding into his blatant corruption. In other words, Trump's corruption is so apparent, so obvious, that it is a deliberate strategy by foreign countries to use it to their advantage. Also, it doesn't matter what the French or the British gave us in the late 1800s. The Constitution right now is clear. A president cannot accept a gift or emolument from any foreign country. That's it. That's the law. You don't get to claim that we're a nation of laws while breaking any of them that are inconvenient for the God King and his insatiable appetite to traffic in corruption. In fact, if Biden or Obama tried to accept so much as cufflinks from a foreign country, the right would be the first ones to call it out. House Republicans would begin impeachment proceedings, and Fox News would run it as nonstop primetime coverage. But when Trump does it, they don't even blink an eye, because their only long-standing principle right now is blind, slavish devotion to dear leader. But it gets worse from there.
President Trump just put 150 countries on notice that their tariffs are about to go higher in the next few weeks if they don't reach a trade deal with the U.S. How exactly will you decide what those new tariff rates will be? Will they be what was previously announced on April 2nd, so-called Liberation Day, and when will they actually go into effect?
So, Jake, we have a 90-day pause. There are 18 important trading partners, probably another 20 strong relationships. President Trump has put them on notice that if you do not negotiate in good faith, that you will ratchet back up to your April 2nd level.
So the 90-day pause isn't just China, it's everybody?
No, the 90-day pause was put on about a week after April 2nd.
Oh, that first 90-day pause.
The first 90-day pause.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that with a few exceptions, the countries are coming with very good proposals for us. And I look at these proposals, and they want to lower their tariffs, they want to lower their non-tariff barriers. Some of them have been manipulating their currency. They've been subsidizing industry and labor. And I look at these proposals, and I think these are excellent proposals, but I wonder, how did we get here? How did the previous administrations allow this to happen to the American people?
So 150 countries have been put on notice. How many deals do you think you're going to be able to announce, and how quickly?
Again, it will depend on whether they're negotiating in good faith. And there are a lot of smaller trading relationships that we can just come up with a number. My other sense is that we will do a lot of regional deals. This is the rate for Central America. This is the rate for this part of Africa. But what we are focused on right now are the 18 important trading relationships.
So Scott Besson says President Trump has put them on notice that if you do not negotiate in good faith, that you will ratchet back up to your April 2nd level. I want to be clear about what's happening here. The punishment for countries that don't negotiate with Trump is that he leaves a tariff in place that acts as a tax on Americans. I mean, that's what this is. Tariffs are a tax not on foreign countries, but on the importing company. When Apple or GE or Microsoft or Walmart import from China, it is not China that pays the tariffs. It's those companies. And those companies aren't going to eat the costs. They're going to pass them on to the consumer, meaning us. Trump's tariffs are a tax on Americans. So Trump is going to punish foreign countries by taxing Americans. Ah, yes, masterful gambit, sir. And of course, Trump will pretend that foreign countries pay the tariffs by saying stuff like this constantly.
A tariff is a tax on a foreign country. That's the way it is, whether you like it or not. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's a tax on us. No. It's a tax on a foreign country. It's a tax on a country that's ripping us off and stealing our jobs. And it's a tax that doesn't affect our country. And you could see hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs on other countries also.
But if he truly believed that, then why would he also post stuff like this on the Truth Social? Just yesterday, he wrote, Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching and so will your customers. So, armed with the apparent fact that tariffs are a tax on foreign countries, why in the world would Walmart need to, quote, eat the tariffs if they're not being paid by Walmart or any American company, but rather by China or some foreign country? The answer is that Donald Trump is lying, and that he knows full well that our companies pay the tariffs and they pass those costs on to our consumers, but he's trafficking in delusion because he's already pot committed, and so that means that the goal here is for Trump to manipulate his supporters into believing his lies. And Besson, he and the rest of his fellow cabinet members know better, but their job isn't telling the truth, it is lying for their boss. They are a gaggle of snake oil salesmen operating on behalf of a guy who couldn't pass a freshman econ class and lies as easily as he breathes. But the American people are realizing pretty quickly that the damage is being done by Donald Trump, and all the spin in the world is not going to change that. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.